Grand Rising, beloveds. My name is Sheena with the Way of Namaste. And today I wanted to come on and share a Celtic Cross tarot reading. Right now we are in one of my favorite gene keys. This is Gene Key 29. It's the shadow of half-heartedness, the gift of commitment, and the city or the divine expression of devotion. For anyone that knows me well, they know that I am certainly a devotee. I love to create spaces for direct connection with the divine. And even here, as I was getting ready to share this Celtic Cross reading, I almost began without lighting my candle and burning sage, to which my higher self quickly jumped in. Like, what are you doing? We always create sacred space before we click record. And today was just reminding myself of all the sacred practices that I have behind the scenes, all the ones that I've cultivated throughout my day. I'm so grateful for all of these practices because I'm committed to something greater than I. Every time that I choose to connect with my higher self, anytime I do channeled writing, it's not the messages of my ego that come across. It's the wisdom of a far more greater intelligence that gives me ideas for courses to put out, for partnerships to have, co-creations. It's just this flood of insight. And it comes from the ancestors, the landcestors, the plancestors, all the angels and all the guardians. And it comes through to a willing channel, to anyone that creates this space. And that's what Gene Key 29 for me is all about. It's about creating the path out of half-heartedness. Half-heartedness in its shadow is when we're stuck in hesitation. We're never fully stepping fully into life. We've got one toe in. Maybe we hover at the edge of the river, but we never really allow ourselves to be carried by its current. But when we choose to go all in, to love all the way, to share authentically, we raise our frequency. The authenticity is a much higher frequency than love because it shares the truth of what is, and truth in every moment is revealing itself in order that we fall more in love with this experience. So when we go all in through the gift of commitment, we begin to say yes with our whole being. And this isn't about perfection. It's just about consistency. Creating these rituals where it's the practice of showing up again and again and again, making that commitment even when the way feels uncertain. Commitment gives our life depth. It creates pockets of stability and meaning that we can carry out into the rest of our day. So at its highest octave, this gene key blossoms into devotion. And here in this space, every single breath, every single word and action becomes an offering to the sacred. Devotion becomes this state of being where there is no separation between the lover and the beloved. This is a life lived in prayer, as the prayer, a walking prayer. Every time we put our whole heart into something, we're telling the universe that we trust it, that we're willing to see it out, that we have faith in the mystery, in what's coming, and we're so grateful for this moment, this breath, this radical aliveness, however it expresses. All of us here, the cosmos, becoming aware of itself in every moment, especially through the sacred moments of devotion, when we literally devote our energy to the highest expression of our energy. We are coached by our higher self, by our God self, by our oversoul. And we coach the other aspects of ourselves through what we listen, through what we attune to. Channeling isn't accessing something outside of us. Channeling is simply attuning to a dimensional plane from within us. And the path of devotion is creating more commitment to purifying that channel, that vessel, so that we're always attuned to the divine, simply pouring right through us. So let's take a moment and just say a prayer, set ourselves up to receive the message of this tarot reading. You may like to take a moment and close down your eyes if that's in alignment for you. You might like to place a hand over your heart and another hand on your belly. Invitation here to begin to breathe deeply in your own rhythm, in your own way, taking in more energy through the inhale than maybe you've taken in all day. And just imagining with each exhale, releasing the weight of hesitation, the fragments of half-heartedness that have scattered your energy. And with every inhale, let's do that together, breathing in. Let's go ahead and call our energy back to our center. And feel it now. Feel yourself gathering into wholeness. And as you do this, invitation to whisper silently to yourself, I am here. I am willing. And let's now take the biggest breath that we've taken all day into the nose. And let's invite into your heart the frequency of commitment. And as we exhale, feel it as an anchor, a quiet, steady flame that says yes to life, to all of life, to love, to this path that we're on. And allow that yes to root you like a tree, strong and grounded, self-assured, confident in your ability. And on this next breath, let's go ahead and take it together, inhaling deeply. Let's send this energy, let's send this breath into our crown, right at the top of the head. And let's see, sense, feel, or imagine now this soft golden light pouring down from above. Imagine this is the essence of devotion, just cascading down, washing over you now. And as it washes over you, this golden honey, allow it to fill you with tenderness and surrender. Here, there's no efforting. There's only love. And you are the flame. You are the offering. You are the beloved itself. Just feel this now. This sacred act from the divine, christening you in this golden field of love and light. This essence of over your entire field. The beloved becomes the beloved. The beloved becomes the belover. The lover. The lover is the beloved. The beloved is in love with all things. Let's take one more deep breath together. And maybe letting out with a sigh. Whisper to your soul, I devote myself to the highest good, in love, in truth, in wholeness. This is the intention we set forward into our sacred space as we call forth the magic and the wonder and the curiosity of these cards, sharing a story that we get to decipher in any which way feels most true and in alignment for us. So the circle of devotion is open now. Let's step forward together. We begin at the heart of the matter, and it's with the world. So here at the center is completion, wholeness, and the dance of fulfillment. The world speaks to the call of Gene Key 29's highest octave, which is devotion. Here the separate pieces unite. The one becomes the beloved. Yet it also asks us, are you stepping into this new cycle wholeheartedly, or are you still lingering at the threshold in half-heartedness? The heart of the matter is your readiness to say a full-bodied yes to life. So if you've set the intention, are you acting upon it? Or are you still in some kind of belief system that your time isn't precious or valuable, that you don't have enough of it? It has to be fragmented out to others. So the challenge of this week is the Eight of Swords. It's the fear of entrapment. It's the belief that you're bound by limitation. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough to write about. Half-heartedness often comes when we don't believe that we're free to choose, or when we fear that commitment will somehow bind us. The Eight of Swords whispers that the bindings are loose. The way forward is open, but the shift comes only when you claim your freedom. There's a social media invitation right now that was brought to us by Reggie Riverbear for 40 days of devotion, beginning right as we stepped into this Gene Key collectively. And this idea of devoting our energy to ourselves over the next 40 days. Before you outsource, before you see what's happening on social media and all the news feeds and all the text threads, can you devote yourself to yourself? 444 on the calendar, on that clock right now. Can you devote your energy to yourself? Can you fill your cup? And then go out into the rest of the day from that space. And we're free to choose how we spend that first hour of the day. And it's free to become different every single day. But it's about utilizing the energy for the things that feel aligned for us in that moment, without having to siphon it out to our pets, to our kids, to our partners, to our jobs. So where we're coming from, the past is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands glows with confidence, magnetism, and creative fire. She represents a past chapter where passion and charisma lit your path. Yet her shadow can be burning bright without depth, pursuing inspiration without grounding. She reminds you of the spark that's already yours, urging you to carry it now with deeper commitment. So we may have already felt this wave of creative energy that came through us. But we don't know how to keep this path lit. we don't know what it's for, what to do with it, what to do with my creative passions. And this, I know for me, is when connecting with the divine is the most important, is the most beneficial. Because every day in daily devotion, I can get one step, one breadcrumb. Enough that satiates me, that fulfills me, that excites me, that keeps me in the game of hide and seek, but also gives me enough to feel satiation and fulfillment, that I'm on the right path. So what we're conscious of right now is the chariot. So in your conscious field is determination and willpower. This is Leo season. We only have a few days left before we go into Virgo season, which is the devotee. So the chariot is the archetype of commitment itself. And once chosen, the path is steady. Nothing can sway. It shows us that we are aware of the call to align our will with devotion and to steer our energy wholeheartedly toward what matters most. But maybe we're not there yet. Maybe we're still getting our bearings. We still have a few more days of Leo season to play, to be curious, to get quiet, to ask, what am I being called into service to create, to express? The future reflected in these cards at this now moment is the Nine of Pentacles. So here lies ripening, independence, and self-sovereignty. The Nine of Pentacles promises a future where devotion brings you into abundance and self-mastery. This is the fruit of true commitment. It's not bondage, it's freedom. It's a life that's been cultivated with grace and dignity. Just thinking of the nines, the power and the guidance of the nines, making themselves known to us in this moment. All of us here as ascended masters, every last one of us, choosing to be here for the betterment of the earth itself. The true commitment that we chose to be here at this time. The freedom that comes here with the knowing that we have already contained all of the wisdom, all of the gifts that we will ever need. And here we just get to express them, to share them with others. Whenever we think about somebody on TV, or a wise sage, or elder, or teacher, we can be so awestruck by their mastery. We don't give ourselves the patience to achieve it. The sage didn't become the sage overnight. The teacher didn't know everything at the first go. It came with practice, with routine, with presence, with devotion and commitment to showing up. And so I hear the nines celebrating us for showing up as ascended masters, practicing the gift of self-mastery, the gift of responsibility, the ability to respond versus react. This is how we literally create new earth. What's unconscious to us right now is the Ace of Cups. We don't even realize beneath the surface the fountain of love that is flowing. The Ace of Cups is the soul's quiet knowing that devotion is an act right from the heart. So even when the mind hesitates, the unconscious is ready to overflow. And here lies the seed of union. The Grail cup of devotion is just waiting to be lifted. Here we get to fill our own cup, because that's what devotion is the act of filling our own cup. So how do we think about all this? What's the querent? It's the Four of Swords. You, the seeker, are in a season of rest and integration. The Four of Swords calls for retreat, inner listening, and prayer. In Gene Key 29's language, this is the pause before the devotion ripens. This is a chance to gather strength and clarity, so your commitment emerges from wholeness, not haste, don't have to hurry up and do this faster than we're destined to. So this is our opportunity to rest, to digest, to integrate. Our environment is the 9 of Cups. Here's the 9s again. Your environment is one of blessings and fulfillment. This is the wish card in the tarot. There is support. There's so much joy and sweetness that's available to you now. The 9 of Cups reminds you that devotion does not mean self-denial. The world is conspiring to bring satisfaction when you step all in. Coming into communion with the divine is to recognize how resourced you always have been and allowing it in. Our hopes and fears is the devil. So here's the archetype of entanglement, addiction, and shadow desire. And the fear is that our commitment will somehow trap us. And the hope is that by facing our shadows, we'll break free into authentic devotion. But the devil here asks us to discern. Are we saying yes from love or from fear? Are we committed to this thing because we're in devotion to it? Or because we're afraid of what might happen if we don't? Devotion breaks chains. Half-heartedness strengthens them. We don't need a middleman to tell us how we should be feeling. We get to feel for ourselves. We get to discern for ourselves. We get to have a direct connection with the divine for ourselves. There does not need to be any intermediary. So, are we devoted to the sacred out of love? Or are we committed to our belief systems out of fear? Fear of how we will be perceived if we introduce something new, if we go beyond the norm that we've seen reflected in societies before. We culminate this journey with the Page of Pentacles. So our outcome here is reflecting the student, the one that is devoted to the path of growth. This is not actually reflecting a grand finale, but a humble beginning. Devotion is lived not in one great act, but in small daily steps of presence, study, and care. So this page shows that wholeheartedness will root you in a new chapter of embodied practice, fertile with possibility. I used to call my shadow, and I considered it to be less than holy, somehow imperfect, unintegrated, and somehow not divine and beautiful. And through the past few years of devoting myself to getting to know myself, to learning myself, I've been able to create a new practice of honoring the journey, showing up every single day to connect with the divine. And to find out that it's actually full of limitless possibilities. My shadow is just infinite potential. It hasn't been expressed yet, but that doesn't make it bad. All of us are full of infinite possibilities that we simply have not become aware of yet. Because what we are is God becoming aware of itself a little bit each day, so that over time, every single act becomes an act of divine will, merged with our human self in service of the whole, in reverence for the experience. So this Celtic Cross weaves this frequency of Gene Key 29 beautifully, where we see how the shadow binds us. It came up in the Eight of Swords and in the Devil card. The Devil asks us, where do you think that you are attached to something that you are not actually attached to? And this gift of commitment steadies the way. We see it in the Chariot. We see it in the Nine of Pentacles. And the city, the divine essence, overflows. We can see it in the Ace of Cups. And right at the beginning with the world. So our path, our invitation this week is to move from half-hearted hesitation into daily embodied devotion, where every step, however small, is a full-bodied hell yes. And that is the energy of creation, creating beauty in art, in poetry, in song. And that's what we're here for. That's why we came. So invitation this week to dive all the way into this experience. Notice what you notice when you give yourself time to notice. Maybe you notice, wow, I'm really tired. Wow, I'm really grouchy when I'm tired. Wow, I notice a 10-minute meditation feels like a 1-hour nap. Maybe I devote myself to cultivating 10 minutes to fill my cup, to come back into that co-creation spirit so I don't feel like a victim to life, wanting to escape it. Because that's the half-hearted nature of disassociating, being distracted, numbing out. So let's gift ourselves the time of presence this week to show up in every environment all the way, in every conversation all the way. What would it show up? What would it be like to show up all the way this week? As a listener, as an observer, as God wrapped in human form. I'm sending you so much love.